Welcome to I Should Have Been Sleeping, but then I got immediately drawing ideas and I had to start sketching them out. Some of you may know I've been reading Snuggle, Pot, and Cuddle Pie books that are done by Gibbs, illustrated by her too. This one that I have is a collection of not just the Cuddle Pot and Snuggle Pot first book, but it's a collection of Tales of Snuggle Pot and Cuddle Pie, which is the first book, Little Rag Blossom, which is I think the second book, and I think third is Little Oblina. So 3 books in one is what this one is. So it's the complete adventures of Snuggle and Cuddle Pie. It's all 3, and including Little Rag Blossom and Little Oblina. All of that is in there. And I think a lot of people don't know this about May Gibbs' works. She loved fairy tales and stuff, but realized Australia didn't really have their own fairies. But as a child, I think she used to see a lot of the Australian plants and animals and a lot of the flowers. Australia has its own unique versions of native flowers and plants. So I started looking up what ones that she might have used, and then I realized she's used a lot of Australian native flora and fauna to design her characters, these little fairy-like characters, because these gumnut babies that she has and little gum blossom babies, flora babies, bonus babies, all these little fairy-like characters that they look a bit like Cupid dolls, like kewpies from the comic series, the Cupid series done by the other female artist from America. This is an Australian one. She sees fairies in a different way, kind of like how you think of the little Cupid dolls, but they're not Cupid dolls, they're like little fairies. Whereas Cupid dolls are like little cupids, Gumnut babies are like little fairies. They're really small. And I started sketching some of the flowers here. I'll have to show. Added pictures and stuff in the background, but I ended up drawing this and more dragons, of course, because I'm reading books at the moment. I drew a dragon reading books. Sort of did that one. I mucked up the tail there, but I did some of the flora and fauna and sketches, even a little gumnut sitting in a pod, because that's what they're doing here. I just wanted to show you. And like some people seem to think she would never give any little gumnuts different colors. That's a lie. She would give them different colors. Like she says here. It's good. Let's see. When someone came out of the cab, was gone. Perhaps he's gone to another job, said Snowpot. Let's walk a little way and we might meet him. As they were sliding along, they noticed a crowd of nuts and blossoms in the distance. Let's go and see, said Cuddlepie. And so they went. And in the middle of the large rail off space, upon a wonderful steed, sat a dark red-skinned nut, which is probably meaning black skin, so not racist. And he held a long stick in his hand. He sat at the very straight and looked very proud. A man wearing a long coat was walking about shouting, who will fight the champion of the... Oh, yeah, back in the time, they would have like this thing where who will go fight the champion of this gumnut, of the red gumnuts. Come on, who will fight him? Me, shouted Snugglepot. No, said Cuddlepie, please do not. You mustn't. Please, Snugglepot. Yes, I will, said Snugglepot. And he climbed through the fence, and all the crowd shouted and clapped their hands. A large, handsome beetle steed was brought out, and a long stick handled the Snugglepot. Each stick was a pad of spider webs at the end, and so that fighters cannot hurt each other. So it's mostly like just a friendly jousting. It takes and the fighters could not hurt each other. So at the end of each stick was a pad of spider webs, so yeah, they didn't want to hurt each other. It's just like a friendly fighting. Snowball mounted his steed and the fight began. This was the first time Snowball had played this game. He had not even seen it. So Cuddlepie was very anxious. You see him on the right, standing on the rails with his hands out. Yep, there he is. See, there's the dark red one. Yeah, but here he is. He was quite a good fighter. Anyway, that's that one. And I will show you some more pictures. As you can see, I tried... A lot of the gumnuts have, like, they're based around seapods. So this is a gumnut. You guys don't know what these are. I'm going to show you some pictures with me in the background in a minute with the rest of the video. But this is like me trying to draw one of the seed pods that the Banksia Man is based on. I'm not sure if I can show you what a Banksia Man is, but you can have a look through my drawings here that I've done. But some Australians' native flowers, or seed pods actually, I should say, seed pods. Some of them are really weird looking, and some of them don't release their seeds until there's a fire. Hence, the Banksia Man are based on a bunch of seed pods that look very fluffy, but then have all these weird little mouth-looking parts to it. Let me just see if I can find one picture. If I can just find a picture. As you can have a look through my drawings here in a minute. I'm just trying to find... We can just find a good picture of one of her artworks of the Banksia Man. Excuse me. Here's one of her drawings, Banksia Man. They're basically based on these seed pods that usually don't give up their flowers, the seeds, unless they have been through a fire. Hence, they're not very nice about giving up things unless there's a fire, and then they'll open up the seeds because some Australia's flowers and plants don't want to germinate until there's been a fire around, which is a bit weird how they work. Or others don't want to come out until there's been a whole lot of flooding and raining, so it's kind of hard for me to explain them, but I have some pictures I will show you. Here's a version of them. These are the seed pods she's used to base them, the Banksia Man, on. There's a little bit example. More of them, you can see it on fire. Some gumnuts there. Here are some more examples, and you can see the fluffiness and the mouth parts when the fire has been at them or when they've dried up enough and they spit out the seeds. So this is like a seed pod from the Banksia flower, which is actually an existent native flower of Australia. More native flowers and plants. See more of the seed pods, more of the other ones. Here are some of the little gumnuts. That's a gumnut there, you can see here. There actually, which also is another seed pod or a flower pod, and flower will pop out through the bottom part. It's hard for me to explain them without pictures. What the Banksia flower looks like before it's been pollinated and becomes the seed pod. Basically, this is what bees go into this part. Even you see how funny little parakeets or rainbow lorikeets would go after their little, to get the nectar out of these ones. More of the gumnuts there, as you can see, and another weird seed pod on top. Australia be wilding. Australia has a lot of weird seed pods in native flora and fauna. If you've ever been here and you actually get to go out in a gum tree forest, especially depending what part of this, which states you're in, sometimes the gumnuts are even bigger. In other states, the gumnuts are really small. See another little mini Banksia Man. You can see how it's a little bit fluffy up there. It's just a little bit fluffy, but it looks like it has lots of mouths. That is what the Banksia Man is based on. He is not based on Aborigines. Not at all. He's not that. He's not a depiction of that. Anyone who thinks that is stuck in the old mindset and has never seen what Australian flora and fauna looks like. The native ones. They only know the ones that were introduced here. But that, even this one down here is another native. We have a lot of weird plants and animals down here that no one knows of. Half the time people only talk about the animals. They forget about the plants. We have some really good ones. Again, the Banksia, see? Some seed pod next to the flower. It is so funny how different it looks compared to its seed pods. See dried up versions of the gumnuts, another seed pod, more of it. Another one, another weird collection of seed pods. See another one over there, basically up there above my head. More of the gumnuts here before they become, when the flowers are about to pop out. As you can see, they're coming up here clearly. More of the Banksia Man, what it looks like before the pods start popping out. So it's slowly drying up to become this. It's like goes through stages before it becomes completely naked. So this is what the Banksia Man is based on, is that. More gumnuts. There's so many different types, and some more native flowers. Even more, for example. One that's gone through a fire, and another one which never got around to opening itself up. But yeah, so this is basically my drawings. And this is basically the books. But yeah, they're based more on native flora and fauna of Australia. That's why people don't know, if they haven't really checked out what the natural flora and fauna of Australia is, you would not know that all the characters are based around native flora and fauna, well, plants and flowers and seed pods for these little guys. And that's my drawings for tonight. I'm going to go sleep now. I should have been sleeping hours ago.